ever since LeBron James walked out of a press conference with a purse, and he did it like Paul Lynde back in the day. Look it up if you don't know who the center square on Hollywood Squares was. And he did it real bitchy. I've had minimal respect. I respect the game, yo. I respect 39 years old, what he's doing. But when LeBron James speaks, stupid comes out. Like, he's the guy that I think allegedly falsified John Thompson style a racist attack on his home. He is the guy that just talks. And when he talks, you're like, no, don't do that. No, it shows that your high school education isn't enough to talk to real people. Talk to NBA guys. Talk about that wine you got. But I will say this about LeBron James. I've told this story before. When CAA, the noted agency, was recruiting me, myself, my wife, and the great Bart Fox took a tour of Universal Studios, and the president, the head, the CEO, gave us the tour. He showed us a building, said LeBron James. It's part of a set. But that's LeBron James's office, and when LeBron James brings us a project, it's usually very well organized. So I've always respected that part, yo. But anyway, LeBron James is full of shit. We know this. Let's fast forward to the latest LeBron James being full of that ish, yo. LeBron James previously stated that his son Bronny, he could play in the NBA. He played basketball at such a high level that he's better than a lot of these NBA people. He could suit up for the Lakers at any given moment, at any given time. He's that good right now. But now, wait a second. Lil Bronny is doing what college kids that aren't that great do. Go to college, freshman year, play. He's on a bad team, struggle a bit. But he's having a decent year. He's averaging 5 points, couple rebounds, couple assists. Look, as a freshman, that's all right. Used to be you developed into a role. Sophomore year, played more. Junior year, you're starting. Senior year, you're starting. He is falling short of expectations of the ones that LeBron James put on him. That's not a surprise. I mean, people that watch Bronny James, like my friend Doug Gottlieb, have been saying this forever and ever. And ever. He's an overrated high school kid that because of his name became a 5-star McDonald's All-American. Wasn't close to that. I watched him play. It's like, I hate to say this, but it's like Arch Manning. Arch Manning, I watched him, and unless he really improves at Texas, if his name was Arch Dakich, he'd be a nice player in the MAC. Maybe at Indiana. Maybe a lower-level Big Ten. He wouldn't be sitting there at Texas making millions. He certainly wouldn't be backing up a guy like Quinn Ewers who can't get into the NFL conversation. It's just the burden that you bear. My son was lucky. His dad stunk. But you know what? There's no expectations with that. You go, whoa, playing better than I thought. Under-promise, over-deliver. Well, LeBron didn't learn that. LeBron overpromised by saying my son could play for the Lakers. Now he's better than a lot of these guys. Well, it came out the other day, the 2024 mock draft, which I don't know what to tell you, but here it is. The son of the Lakers star is no longer listed in the 2024 mock draft, and ESPN has moved the 19-year-old into its mock draft for 2025 instead. Now, notably, even in its 2025 mock draft, ESPN does not have the younger James tabbed as a first-round pick, second round, 39th. So even if he chooses to play another year of college basketball to work on his game, there's no guarantee it will markedly improve his draft stock. Now, see, this is all very stupid. This is all very, very stupid. The deal is this. I don't give a damn. Being a first or second-round pick after your sophomore year, that's pretty good. So what ESPN is saying that Bronny James is pretty good. I would have killed to have been a second-round pick after 4 years of me and Bobby Knight. I would have killed to go to a camp. Most guys would. But here's the problem. We listened to LeBron James. What did we hear? I'll show you. Here's LeBron James's tweet from March of 2023 on Bronny James. Man, Bronny definitely better than some of these cats I've been watching on League Pass today. Shit, lightweight, hilarious. Okay. All right, there you go. Okay. Here is LeBron James's off-camera comments about Bronny from January. During the ad's availability, Austin asked LeBron about Bronny's game tomorrow and if he'd start. LeBron said it was time and loudly said he could play for us right now. Easy. Easy. Well, let me backtrack for just a second. Well, you got to play. All this talk is great, but you got to play. Eventually, the game knows. Eventually, you just got to perform. Mock drafts, conversation, I'm gonna, he's gonna, this is will happen. No, you get in between the black lines, white lines, whatever the hell they are at your school, and you got to play. And Bronny James has done fine. Like, people act like this guy's a complete bust. He's only a bust from the standpoint of morons saying, well, he should be better. And the reason morons are saying he should be better is because of the dad. Now, you know what's going to happen. You know the level of stupid that's coming out of LeBron James. I admire LeBron James somewhat as a father. I know things. So when I hear all this great husband, great father, see this face? This face knows things. This face has pictures. So just stop. All right? Just stop. I'm not even going to I'm going to let you all say that because he's actually being a father. And as we know, 75% African-American kids are born into fatherless homes. So we'll give him credit for that. But we ain't giving him too much credit because this guy right here, he knows things. Anyway, so now LeBron James is pissed. So now, because LeBron James' son Bronny is no longer on the mock draft boards, is no longer being seen as the heir apparent, is no longer Ken Griffey Jr. Here's what LeBron had to say. Can y'all please just let the kid be a kid and enjoy college basketball? The work and results will ultimately do the talking no matter what he decides to do. If y'all don't know he doesn't care what a mock draft says, he just works, earn, not given. Well, absolutely. This should have been the first and only tweet about Bronny. Look, what have I told you? You guys that run around following Indiana basketball, what have I told you? Mommies and daddies, stay the hell off social media when your kid is in college. It never ends well, period. I had a son, little white dude, Michigan, transferred to Ohio State, played a bunch in his last years or so at Michigan, damn near 30 minutes, 25 minutes at Ohio State. He's the poster child for everybody on campus, black and white, to hate on. I went through it at Indiana. Dane Fife went through it at Indiana. Every white dude knows they should be you, and every black dude thinks they can beat you. I didn't say a word on social media. I learned from other mommies and daddies. The poster child, a kid named Bobby Capabianco. His mommy was all the rage. Big Italian Brad. All the rage on the message boards, Twitter. And then what happened? Bobby wasn't that good. So what happened to Mrs. Capabianco? She got crushed. Hey, it's great you're on here, but tell your kid, whatever. Bobby Capabianco, very nice kid, transferred to Valparaiso, and the mommy left. I learned. Now I watch. Mommies and daddies of college athletes that get on Twitter, it never, ever ends well. We got a guy here in Indiana. His son is named CJ Gunn. The daddy all over Twitter. The daddy telling everybody, my son learned his toughness from playing against his sister. Huh? I mean, a lot of us learned our toughness from going in the inner city and playing against guys that were already in college. But this guy learned his toughness from playing against his sister. The daddy, Christopher Gunn, has since locked down his Twitter account. LeBron, don't lock down your Twitter account. You're very important according to you. But I got to tell you, stay the hell off Twitter, both positively and negatively, when it comes to your son. Because as you said, the work and the results will will do the talking no matter what he decides. Now, it is a little different because if LeBron walks into Rob Pelinka's office and says, I want to play with Bronny, he's on the team, what's Rob Pelinka going to do? He's the general manager of the Lakers. Okay, LeBron. It's a little different. But LeBron, there's a saying, STFU. I'll let you figure it out. I know you're watching. Our friend Jay Bilas, and I do consider Jay a friend, lost his ever-loving mind, but he had to be facetious. He had to be. After the court storming, where a little dookie tweaked his ankle, which, by the way, there's no imaging on. John Shire and the kid are all like, well, one's an ankle, one's a knee. This is typical dookie. And we're all supposed to get up in arms and upset because a dookie tweaked his ankle. Oh, my God. OMG. Crowd rushed on the floor. And by the way, side note, I took Notre Dame yesterday against Wake. I just did. There's no way Wake was coming back and playing well in that game. They didn't. Notre Dame beat them at Notre Dame. That was a good night for me, a really good night for me last night, but I'll get into that at the end of the show. But anyway, a dookie tweaks his ankle. Flipkowski, the big pole. I like Flipkowski, but he was an idiot. I don't know why you got to shove a fan. You just run to your team. Long story short, it became national news, and we're all supposed to be upset and ban corpse storing because a dookie, well, got hurt. Bilas wants people arrested. Bilas wants people detained. I don't think he was being serious. I think he was kind of like, I don't even know what he was doing. The mind of Jay Bilas is a beautiful thing. But you want everybody to don't let him off the court. Well, if you've got the manpower to not let them off the court and give them a citation, guess what? You probably got the manpower to not let them on the court. I mean, what are you going to do? Surround them and all of a sudden 10 kids come rushing at one guy? 8 get away? What are you talking about? Richard Jefferson, well, he had something to say about it. Richard Jefferson said, that's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Did he say detain 10,000 people? Did he say give 10,000 people citations? That is asinine to suggest that, because for me, when you look at this, yeah, get your players off the court. But this is a part of college sports. It's always been for what, 40, 50 years? Well, longer than that. Come on, Jefferson, what's wrong with you? 40 years ago is when this greatness was perusing the courts at Indiana University. We had one court storming at home at Indiana. One. We beat Minnesota. Weird game to rush the court, but it was that kind of game. They referred to it as the Dakich game. They did. We're down 18. Knight finally smart enough to put me in. I start wheeling. I start dealing. Next thing you know, it's tie game. I get the rock, drive it. They come, drop it to Uve. Uve lays it in at the buzzer. Game winner. Bada bing, bada boom. Next thing you know, I'm hugging some big-breasted cheerleader. Yeah, that's right. I remember it like it was yesterday, except the cheerleader part. I was actually hugging Uwe. Guy can dream, can he? What? What's the problem? But anyway, so court storming, that was 84. So however many years ago that is. But anyway, that's 40 years. Anyway, court storm has been around forever. Notre Dame, 88-game winning streak. They beat UCLA, who was on the 88-game winning streak. Court storming. Stop it, stupid. One little dookie gets hurt, and we want to arrest people. Again, I like Bilas. I like Bilas a lot. In fact, I think Bilas is one of the smartest people I've ever met, and he combines that with being one of the funnest people that I've ever met. It's fun to hang out with Jay Bilas. We did an all-day shoot in Hawaii getting ready for the Maui Classic. It was a miserable experience, except I liked hanging around Bilas. But Jay's doing something here, and I can't quite figure it out because he knows you're not detaining 10,000 people. He knows you're not. Well, here's a citation for you, Missy. Do you know how many of those citations would be laying on the court at Winston-Salem, at Wake Forest? I'm not saying all, but certainly a lot. There are ways to solve court storming. Hey, get a bunch of police over there. I did an interview with TMZ yesterday. I'm like, look. Get a bunch of big old cops, bright unis, you know, those DEA sweaters or jacket windbreakers. Get a bunch of them, put them by the team, and let's get off the court. I'll give you another thing on court storming. How about players, Jermaine Burton, Flipkowski, the big pole. How about you don't go at people? What are you talking about, Jermaine Burton? He's the dude that slapped that girl when Tennessee rushed the court. How about we don't do that? How about we respect the court rush, meaning a lot of guys running on the court. I know I'm the big pole, Flipkowski, but I got to get out of here, and I go right to my team. Well, he shouldn't have to do that. Well, then don't be Duke. He wouldn't have to do that. Go to University of Toledo. Well, even at University of Toledo, that's a bad one because when I was at Bowling Green, we came back from 17, crowd rushed the court. Lost my two best players. That's a different story. I don't know where you go. I would say maybe I join the pantheon of idiots who says, hey, Duke, don't lose the game, and then they won't rush the court. I suppose, I guess, but the truth of the matter is this. I don't care. I want court storming. The Duke player will be fine. He'll play tomorrow or today, whenever the hell Duke plays. Flipkowski will be fine. John Shire got his moment where he got to be Coach K, lecturing us about we need to ban this. Okay, yay, rock, go fight, win. I'm all in on all of it. But the fact of the matter is this. Only way you're going to get this done is just get a bunch of big old cops taking the team off the court, and away we go. And good for Richard Jefferson. You know, we've seen a lot of ESPN on ESPN crime lately. We saw McAfee go at Norby Williamson. We've seen, and he does it in an icky way, we've seen Stephen A. Smith go at McAfee. And now we're seeing Richard Jefferson go at Bilas. The women are always going at each other. I mean, they're just nuts. They don't necessarily do it privately or publicly, but privately they're snipping at each other. Actually, we saw the women of ESPN go at Sage Steele. ESPN on ESPN crime. Fascinating. But I got to tell you, Richard Jefferson, you ain't wrong. But I like Jay Bilas. So last night, the beloved Indiana Hoosiers got a win. Yay! They beat an 18-10 Wisconsin team, and you would have thought that Indiana won the national championship. I mean, a kid named Khalil Ware had a great game, and he trolled me on Twitter because I had said, yo, why don't you get in the gym? Instead of getting a million tattoos, why don't you learn how to shoot free throws? He had a big game, and he trolled me, and I respect that, yo. Good for him. And people all around Indiana get pissed at me. They get pissed at me for, I'm saying, look, Indiana's supposed to be where tough guys go play basketball. Indiana's supposed to be different. Indiana's supposed to be strong and tough, not little TikTok makers. Indiana has a history of guys making TikTok videos. I'm making a TikTok. We just won. Oh, goody. Yay, rah. We just moved to what? We just moved to 7-10 in the Big Ten. Let's TikTok. It gives me gas. It makes me raise a cheek. It makes me understand that fans don't know their ass from third base. When they say, geez, Dakich, you don't know nothing. Dakich, well, I do. And coaches know. Lane Kiffin, who is a favorite, and I cannot believe he follows me, I follow him, but we can't get him on the show. It's driving me crazy. I love me some Lane Kiffin. But anyway, Lane Kiffin, well, he not too happy with his star players making a silly TikTok video. Let's go to the video of Lane Kiffin, will you? Please don't ever do that again. Look, I get it. I need my brand. At Indiana, we had some clown named Miller Kopp, transferred in from Minnesota, or excuse me, Northwestern, where I think he was like 13-80 in the Big Ten. He transfers into Indiana, and he becomes the TikTok guy. He's the brand guy. NCAA tournament, he knows it's on national TV, so he's going to wear a headband. First time he ever did. They lost by 30. Look, Lane Kiffin ain't wrong. I get it, we're making little TikToks. I get it, that's the way we do it. But how about we just play? How about Dart, you just become a Heisman Trophy candidate? Oh, man. Here's another one. Kiffin is saying, did they put on their uniforms and do a photo shoot in the woods like people do for an engagement announcement? Why? Who thought this was good? Get that person away from the team. Yes. See, guys in leadership positions understand. Fat kids sitting on their couch with a Mississippi jersey or an Indiana jersey, eating bonbons, whacking it once a day, have no idea what's real and what's not. If I were Lane Kiffin, I'd be like, man, I got some real questions about these dudes. I would. I'm sorry. That's what I would do. You may not. I would. Lane Kiffin would. Every coach would, actually. Every fan that had a hair on his backside and understood anything about athletics would. But good for Lane Kiffin. Did they put on their uniforms and do a photo shoot in the woods like people do for engagement announcements? Why? Who thought this was a good idea? Get that person away from the team. True that. True that. Like, get that if that person's ideas are such that we're going to go, put our uniform on, go into the woods, I don't know. I think maybe, just maybe, I don't want them around except they're really good. Now, Dakich, you don't understand the modern player. You're stuck in the past. No, I'm stuck in winning. No, I understand what it takes, and it takes everybody focusing on the right things. Well, they're just kids having fun. Good. I tell you what's fun. You ever see Swamp Kings? If you see Swamp Kings, the story of Urban Meyer's Florida National Championship teams, do yourself a favor. Watch the weightlifting part. That's fun. Watch the part where they kick everyone's ass. Watch the part where they beat Ohio State by a bazillion to win a national championship. Watch the part where Tebow and Chris Leak win a national championship. That's fun. We got a video that I send out all the time on Indiana University's basketball team dancing like little high school girls. In fact, I've just insulted little high school girls. So what's their record? 7-10. Here's what you do. Go 17-3 and then make a video. The Super Bowl shuffle wasn't made until the Bears were the best team in football, and it wasn't close. They didn't start the season at Media Day dancing like little girls. Again, apologies to little girls. No, they started the season by whooping ass. They continued the season by whooping ass. They finally got to the point where this is silly. We're better than everybody. It ain't close. We're going to end up 16-1. Let's make a video and raise some money for charity. But see, these schools have it different. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a simple question. What's Mississippi won in football? What has Mississippi won? I'll put it in my phone. Mississippi football. It came up Mississippi pot roast. Well, I don't want pot roast. Mississippi football. What have they won? They ain't won squat. I want to talk, like everybody else talks. What have they won? They won nothing. Nothing. Zero. Zip. They got a tough schedule coming up. Great. Honest to God. Win something and then put it out. Not winning the first round of the play-in game of the NCAA tournament and making TikTok videos. Win something good. Win something big. Get something done. Then dance like nobody's watching. Like me at a wedding. Instead, Indiana beats us to go 7-10 in the Big Ten, and these idiots are talking. Yeesh. Rip my ass when you win something. Not when you beat a 18-10 team at home and Jamal Bowman had to pull the frickin' fire alarm to stop a rally. I got a headache. One of my least favorite coaches is Sean Miller. I used to like Sean Miller. But you know what? All the stuff at Arizona, I ain't down with. He's the coach at Xavier. Now, he works for America's Worst AD, a guy named Greg Christopher. I never saw a guy at Bowling Green so universally disliked by players, coaches, people at school, people in the community, business people. So he got out of Bowling Green. I don't know where the hell he went, but somehow he ended up conning the people at Xavier to become the AD at Xavier. He hired the known cheat, Sean Miller, back to Xavier. Sean Miller's done an okay job. Sean Miller got his ass kicked by Shaka Smart, our favorite, and Marquette. This is what Sean Miller had to say.
The disposition of our group in Milwaukee playing Marquette is just fundamentally unacceptable. They were not ready to play. They did not play with great effort. And there's a couple guys that, quite frankly, don't deserve to play anymore. It's just it's where it's at. So we have to be able to see it for what it is. I think that where we're at in 2024, it's like it is holding people accountable in a world that really doesn't allow you to do it sometimes. And you have to give Xavier maximum effort. You have to show up on time. You have to play for something that's bigger than yourself. Those are just the beginning stages. And by the way, no one's saying you have to score 20 and 10, or especially this season with the schedule that we've had, that you have to win 25 games. That's not what I'm saying. But what is expected is that you're going to play your heart out. You're going to play with tremendous effort level from the start of the game to the finish.
He ain't wrong. And whether I respect him, because I don't respect cheaters in college basketball, or I don't, he's not wrong. We do live in a world that does not allow you to hold people accountable. In fact, I had a conversation yesterday. I'd never heard this. Maybe it was on this show. It might have been with Brad Underwood. I think it was. Where he said a coach and he were talking a friend. And a player, it was on this show, a player, parent, and agent came in bitching that a player was playing too much. People, we got to have accountability in our society. We do. There's a little mini micro group of, quote, professional burglars running around Geist here where I live. There is going to be accountability because everybody, at least on my street, has a gun. And we're all a little bit crazy. You better be professional. You better come in during the cloak of darkness, unless you're gonna get shot in the ass around these parts. That's accountability. In basketball, Sean Miller's right. Hey, look, some guys don't deserve to play. If you ain't busting it, you ain't deserving it. And good for him. They did get their brains beat. I mean, they got their brains beat bad. I mean, bad. By what's it called? They got beat like a drum against Marquette. I wish more coaches would come out publicly ripping their team. Let me give you an example. I'll give you a couple. The inept one, Mike Woodson, who's half asleep, or I don't know, maybe he's Percocet up. I don't know what he is. But he actually said that a kid named Malik Renew played terrible in a game. Renew's been pretty good since. We all know about Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino came out and said, hey, most miserable experience of my life. Joey Bag of Donuts is too slow. Susie Rottencrotch, no good. Now, he walked back those statements, but guess what? They whooped Georgetown, went into the Garden, played against maybe the hottest team offensively in the country, Creighton, and guess what happened? They discombobulated Creighton. Really? Shocking. I've said this forever, and I'll continue to say it. People want to be led. I don't care who you are. I don't want what your position is. People want to be led. They act like they don't. They act like they're mad about it. People want to be led. I remember the great Bob Knight when I worked for him. There was always someone around he would ask questions to, hung out with older coaches. People want to be led. And frankly, let's just be honest here, it is a disservice to young people, particularly college-age, entitled little pains in the ass basketball players on a college campus. It's a disservice not to lead them. It's a disservice not to hold them accountable. It's a disservice not to rip their ass when asses need ripping. Why? Because they can take it. That's why in business, you only hire athletes, former athletes. Why? They're going to show up on time. They don't get easily offended. 99% of them don't care what their pronouns are, and they're not going to run to HR when you say, hey, dumbass, Why did you do that? They're going to go, flashback, coach in college, rip me good. This ain't close. I can handle it. That's what happens. Enterprise, we'll pick you up. They hire athletes. Why? The exact reason I just said. If you're a NARP, non-athletic, regular person, which is what my wife and my stepdaughter call non-athletic, regular people, you're probably offended. You're probably sad. You're probably upset that your Instagram didn't go viral. That picture of you holding up a spritzer with your lips going, it didn't get anywhere. I only got 5 likes. Oh my God, life is over as we know it. I can't take it anymore. Nah, I got 2 words for you. Bite me. Hire athletes and coaches. I swear to God, if I were a coach, I would get the best team in America. I would rip the living hell out of guys because I would get guys that could handle the ripping. Not guys like little whatever Ware who has one good game to move to 7-10 in the Big Ten and he's all chatty. No. I want chatty after we accomplish. That might be on a wall. Give me chatty after we accomplish. Give me TikTok after we accomplish. Dance after we win something. Until then, STFU. That's strong. I tell you what, that right there, what I just said, should be on a loop on every college campus, right in the middle of campus. Last night, basketball was fun. I say it every night. You know what? Every night, college basketball delivers. Full disclosure, 8 points down, I took Kentucky. 8 points down, I got Kentucky at plus 350. I put $100 down. I won $450 on a $100 bet. Nice night, but here's what happened. They wanted to cash me out. They wanted to cash me out at like 412 when they were having to pay me $450. Kentucky was up 4, and it looked like it was 30 seconds. I wasn't watching the game. Little did I know that Kentucky was in the throes of a choke job. Tie game. Oh, man, did not know this. Reed Sheppard, who I said yesterday, I can't imagine he's in the top 10 of the NBA mock drafts, but he is. Length of the court, little leaner, whap. Kentucky wins at Mississippi State. Pretty damn good win. Road win, good team this time of year. Kentucky's got it figured out a little bit. And, of course, I had a big night. My toes were tapping. Next thing you know, boom. But to Kentucky's credit, 8 down, I did feel like they were going to win. That's how I'm starting to feel about Kentucky. Don't sleep on Reed Sheppard. Don't sleep on Kentucky. Indiana was up as much as 15 in the first half. I had taken my beloved Hoosiers. Bet $200 at plus 150. Nice, tidy little sum coming my way, right? Well, all of a sudden, Indiana, second half, not going great. All of a sudden, Indiana, we got a tie game. What happened? Jamal Bowman happened. Remember Jamal Bowman, the dumbest human being other than the guy Johnson from Greg Johnson or Gary Johnson, dumbest human being in Congress, pulled the fire alarm to stop a vote? Well, that's what happened in Assembly Hall last night. Woodson, I think, went out and got Jamal Bowman. And Bowman came in, pulled the alarm. I've seen this once at Ohio State. Place got evacuated. They evacuated. Teams went into their rooms, whatever they did. Next thing you know, the run stopped. And Indiana escaped. And then the dancing started. And then the trolling on Twitter started. We've got to 7-10, baby. That's right. Don't mess with us. We're 7-10. We're the Hoosiers. Hoosier pride, yo, because we're 7-10. Wisconsin, man, they usually beat my beloved Hoosiers. They do. They didn't. I'm happy. Cashed a lot of money last night. Let's continue. BYU, Mark Pope. Mark Pope is a good dude. I've had Mark Pope on shows. Went to Kentucky after transferring from Washington to play for Pitino. Was a captain on national championship team. 6'9", could do a lot of stuff. Wasn't a great player. Had a cup of coffee in the NBA. Played for the beloved Pacers. Long story short, he gets into coaching. Successful. Ends up at BYU. BYU moves in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Big 12. What is that? Well, BYU and Mark Pope have been really, really good. I've told you all year long, I don't like Kansas. I got a good friend, Todd Blinko. He and his lovely wife, Chris, went to Kansas. They wear their Kansas gear. They made fun of me when Kansas beat Indiana at Indiana. I'm like, good, but I don't like Kansas. Kansas beat us in 1993. It feels like Kansas always beat us under Roy Williams. We could have a great team, he'd beat us. They could have a mediocre team like in 91, they'd beat us. Got him Terry Brown's throwing in everything. Anyway, I love Roy Williams. I don't like Kansas. So it pains me when Kansas is really good, although I do like Bill Self. But last night, at home, Allen Fieldhouse, Kansas and Mark Pope got belly-whomped. When you're doing your bracket, remember this. Check the health of Lance McCullers. He's the one guy on KU that can shoot it. I'm telling you. And see where BYU is. Here's the deal with BYU now. They had a big win. Really big win. You telling me you come into the Big 12 and you get a win at Kansas? That's a massive win. How are they going to handle it? What did I bet? What did I tell you, or who did I tell you I bet against yesterday? Wake Forest. Why? They just beat Duke. Take it out. Check it out. Don't immediately fall in love. Don't do it. Don't fall in love with BYU. Not yet. See how they respond, because in the NCAA tournament, you get a big win, you got to go play 2 days later. Just be careful. I tell you what, Houston is playing well. Now, they did not play very well. They had a bad crowd for the number one team in the country. They ended up beating, they beat Cincinnati. This isn't Huggins' Cincinnati. This is a Cincinnati team that's trying to find himself. But you know what? I don't care. Sometimes in a league, on a Tuesday or Wednesday night or a noon Saturday game, it's an enema. Ugh. You're grinding it out. Water's shot up there. Things are unclogging. It's just not easy. Satisfying at the end when you get the win, but getting through it is just not easy. It is not great. Well, that's what the Houston game was last night. That's kind of a survive and advance. We'll see where both teams end up. But I got to tell you, man, I'm not off of Houston. They play tough. They're athletic, and this kid Shed can go. We may, just for the hell of it, bet against BYU their next game. Here's the deal. If BYU's a real team, they'll win their next game. Wake's not a real team. Couldn't handle success.